Peers, and welcome to our first literary craft chat.
Oh, thank you very much, Kim Wilkins, Dr. Kim Wilkins, I should say. I'm very delighted to be here.
Well, what we've done is we've pulled down some ideas from this week's workshop of things that we can talk about, certain aspects of craft that perhaps I can put to you as a writer and answer myself from my own practice. Let's start with point of view, which is one of the issues that you pulled out. Now, are we talking about just whether to use first or third, or are we talking about actually managing point of view on the page?
Well, in the samples we've looked at so far, it was actually more about whether a person was going to stay in a close third-person point of view, or whether they were leaping out to omniscient.
Right. So sort of head hopping.
Yeah, and I think making the decision is people need to make the decision as to whether if they're going to be in a third-person point of view, are they going to be close up as if they're sitting on their shoulder, or do they want to have that omniscient kind of third person where they can see what everybody's thinking and doing? And I think that can be quite distracting if you move between the two, unless you actually are doing it deliberately. When you're doing it, you don't realise what you're doing. Yeah. It can be quite distracting.
What do you think are the benefits of each of those approaches? The on the shoulder, stay in one person's viewpoint approach versus the omniscient, get everybody's viewpoint approach?
Yeah, personally, and maybe it's personal taste, but I definitely prefer the close-up.
Yeah, me too.
Point of view, and I think it engages it's very distancing to write in an omniscient point of view. So you want to, and the whole point is to engage the reader. So the closer and more intimate that you can be with the characters, the more likely you are to stay engaged with the piece.
Yeah.
So I would definitely opt for that close point of view and religiously stay with it. Yeah. That doesn't mean that you can't move to another character's close point of view.
Yeah.
But you just have to signal it very clearly.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Do you have any tips for using that close third-person point of view?
Well, literally every time you write a sentence, you think about it as if you are in that character's head. Like you are right there. So how are they seeing it?
Yeah.
How would they feel about it? How are they thinking about it?
Yeah, so it's not just really, point of view almost makes it sound as though it's only what they can see, but it's what they can hear, it's what they can feel on their body, it's what they can feel emotionally, it's what they're thinking. It's almost like you're right inside their head looking out through their eyes,
Yeah, absolutely. And it does limit then a little bit what you can tell, but there's other ways that you can make up that information, and sometimes you do want to limit it as well.
Absolutely. For dramatic irony or whatever.
Yes.
And I guess the other thing that does is, even if it does limit what the reader can see and know about the story, it really opens up the rich inner world of the character and does that work of bringing the reader and the character close together.
Oh, absolutely. This is how you get to know your character's motivations and how they're going to react in situations and what feels authentic, for that particular character. And that's where we get deep characterization. So, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. All right. Another one. This is just a little, well, it's not really that little, and that's what I want to talk about. It's just about how to set out dialogue. Like, this is the number one problem that I see with writers who aren't published, is they don't know how to set out dialogue. And I'm really not quite sure why it happens, because it's just, if you've read lots of books, it's just like that, but double-spaced. But do you want to talk to that?
Probably the biggest thing that I see in marketing creative writing is dialogues not being indented or new dialogues not being started on a new line.
Yeah.
So people will run dialogue together and they'll also justify it.
Yeah.
The standard, you only have to look in any novel to look at what the standardised version of dialogue is. But if you have any concerns, just go to a style guide. The university uses the Australian style guide.
The Australian government one, whatever it is.
Style guide, yeah. So basically we would be looking at indentation and new line for every every time a character is speaking, a new character is speaking, they have a new line, and you'd be using single inverted commas, not double inverted commas. We tend to use double inverted commas for journalism. And double spacing as well goes without saying for the entire manuscript. And so, we talk a lot about the fact that there is a reason for that, and that is that it is that necessity of white space on the page. It's much easier for the marker to read and to mark.
Yeah.
So, indent your dialogue, new line or new dialogue from a new character.
Yeah. And tell them, because I know, why is it so important to lay things out properly on the page before you submit them?
Well, it certainly helps in terms of readability.
Yeah.
Because we are used to conventions of reading.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We simply find it impossible to read if those conventions aren't followed, and then we're totally pulled out of the story, and you've lost the person from this.
And that's amplified or intensified, certainly if you're an editor and all you do is read manuscript all day. The stuff that's not laid out properly, it just annoys you. It gives you the irrits.
Yeah, and I mean that's the one little reason that they need to put it in the rejection pile. So you don't want to give them that reason.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you knocking wood? Well, that's it, Marianne. Thank you very much for talking through those issues with me this week. And in a couple of weeks, we shall do it all again. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay then.